Tidbits. Tidbits. Hello there, and welcome back to episode 3 of Our Bloc's Tidbits program, the show where we give you info that others just don't want to fucking give you. Alright, well today we're going to be talking about how to resurge your life and monopolies on time. Let's jump straight in. Last week we talked about how life, experience, time, presence in the moment is one of the most, if not the most, important resource to you, for you. So we're going to delve in this episode a bit more into time, into what monopolizes our time, into how to resurge and how to resource ourselves to get our lives feeling fuller. That's basically the whole gist of all these, is how to get your lives feeling fuller so you can create and work in creativity to the best of your ability. So, do you feel that your life is balanced time-wise? You know, what are you giving the most attention to, and does it make you feel happy, peaceful, content? A lot of people, I know, it can be a no. The second question we have to ask, if it's not balanced, okay, well, what is then monopolizing our time? Is it monopoly companies like Netflix or Disney, or I don't know, a streaming service, Stan? Are they monopolizing our time? YouTube, Google, are they monopolizing our time? Is it our work for monopolist companies like Amazon or Woolworths? Are they what we are paying most attention to? Is it our phone? Is it reading? Is it movies? Is it sport? Is it news? And then we have to kind of start asking ourselves, are we getting enjoyment from paying attention? From paying our valuable human experience and attention in such vast quantities? You know, we have to start identifying what is monopolizing our time and if it's harming us. And if you don't go through this reflection process, and I haven't gone through it very much, I'm only just starting to go through this reflection process, right? But if we don't, the results are just dastardly. It's just a life of drudgery, of monotony, you know? Monopoly causes monotony, and monopolies can and do cause monocultures, right? And this is something that I'll explore in another medium somewhere else. But monocultures are not great because they're very exposed to permanent death, right? If you have a monoculture of a tree spruik up, and you cut down an old growth forest and put up a monoculture of just one tree, that's very susceptible to death from a fungi or whatever it is. Like, you're very susceptible. So that's one part of it. But monocultures also create a stasis, and the stasis is not changing. The stasis is just humming along in a grey kind of block by block. There's nothing happening in between. The stasises are not good for creativity, obviously. So, what has been monopolizing my time? working on my business stuff. It's important, right? But it is taking and eating up a lot of my emotional energy, right? So that's one thing I've identified, is all the financial and marketing collateral, all that kind of stuff. I like doing it, but I'm only one person. You're one person, you can't take on every role. You do have to take on every role sometimes, but you can't take on all the roles all the times. And so that's where delegation and bringing on other people onto the ship is important. And that's something that I am learning, that I have to learn how to do, and learn how to do much better, right? We all have things. But it wouldn't have started without this process of reflection. And so I want to bring this video to one final point, because I think that this point has changed how I view the world. And it's changed it for the better. And I hope that it changes yours. You know, in working in music and arts, I hope it changes yours. I hope this point changes yours. So we've talked a little bit about extrinsic and intrinsic motivations, rewards in the last couple of videos already. But this point is something that I want to get home. My partner, my lovely partner, showed me a podcast with Russell Brand and Vandana Shiva. Vandana Shiva is an amazing woman. She is a food security advocate. She's been fighting the patenting of seeds all of her life. She's been a feminist. She's been working in a field that desperately needed a voice. Working across different fields that desperately need voices. And she said something on this podcast that really stuck with me. And that is that how we view resources is abhorrent. We view resources as something to exploit, discard, and move on. Exploit the next thing. But that's not the original meaning of the word resources. The word resources in the English language, as she pointed out, are the things that you use to resurge your life, to have a resurgence, to have a bounce back. By the very nature of a monopoly kind of mindset of exploiting and then moving on, you are leaving nothing to resurge back up again. You are leaving nothing to resurge, to come back and bounce back better. Newer, different. So hearing this has changed how I think, because it makes me feel like, wow, I have, even like when I talk about, you know, resources for the business. So the Ready to Record program has so many resources for participants, you know. It's got videos, it's got books, it's got infographics. It's got so many resources. I have been looking at it as from the point of view of exploitation, that even in like a minimal sense, but still from the point of exploitation, that the resources are just something that the person accesses and then never discards and doesn't use again. So they consume the video, they consume the material, and then they leave it and don't use it again. And it's not the way to look at it. You know? And so the last thing about resources and time, well, the resources that the word used and can, but used to mainly mean, were the intrinsic resources, the internal fortitude and wherewithal and love and energy that a person or a community or a nation state had to resurge. The internal resources, not exploitation, but the internal reserve. And so this is a great, I don't know how to stress, but this is a great thing, because it means that the power to resurge is within you, within your family, within your friends, within your community, within your business, within your schoolmates. The ability to come back and bounce back into life larger than it, larger with it, not in it, larger with life, different, variated, seeing new avenues, seeing new possibilities, is your internal resources. And what a lot of the current system that operates in, right, this is where I get into social determinants, is that they take away the focus on energy, on the focus that we had on interconnectedness is separateness, and by separating you're allowed to exploit. So it's coming back into ourselves, coming back into our communities and saying, hey, we are all connected. And that competitive monopolist mindset will not and cannot and should not give you the right to immeasurable wealth. And this is the case, right? So I know I've gone a bit off topic, but I just want you to realize, like I have realized, that to research, we really need to pull the resources that we have around us. And this is where you get into trouble, because for people who are homeless, or for people who are kicked out of home, whatever, they don't have a lot of familial love to pull them back up again, to reshape them. They don't have a community, they don't have, you know, the nuclear family is very prone to this as well, right? As we all kind of know, like two parents raising 1, 2, 3 more kids is very hard. You know, that's why in the past 30 to 40 in most societies, individual parents and elders older than 40 to 50 looked after the children together, right? And looked after each other together, to help them research, to help them realize that their inner worth and value to the world, and their place in it. So check in with the people that are around you in a healthy, boundaried way, and ask them to check in with you a little bit more. And what you'll come to find is you need voices around you. You need to find, you don't need to, but you don't need to do anything, right? You could leave this channel and fucking click off it, whatever you want to do. But we need to find voices around us that speak to us and pull us up. Pull us up when we need it. Pull us up when we feel despair. And if you're in a situation now where you don't have those voices around you, you need to search, we need to search for them elsewhere. We need to search for them on the internet, obviously. This is the whole kind of, I'm going to get into it, but it's the whole kind of reason that populist movements work, is because the man or the woman speaks to people. They speak to the majority. They speak to them and they say, hey, I hear your pain. And they may go on to continue a system of oppression. But the reason that they get in the first place is because they speak to the majority. So, please, take everything I've said here with a massive grain of salt, but just know that there is an amazing body of evidence behind the fact that you have an amazing ability to research within yourself, to view resources as the things that you can pull together to make yourself feel more like yourself again, feel more aligned, feel different, feel like you can shift and shape and affect the community, the world in a positive way. And that is a beautiful thing. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Bits, that was Tidbits. That was Tidbits.